Did you know that overwatering is the biggest cause of death in succulents? Usually causes rotting because there's too much water sitting in the soil, which rots the stem or the leaves. So today I'm kind of doing a what to do when you see a rotting succulent and what to look out for when you see kind of signs of it, and to explain to you what the signs are. So I've got two examples which I've managed to film and capture and kind of do a journey on what's happened with the plants and if they have managed to survive or not. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. This video is going to show you how to look for signs of rot, what your plant will look like if there is something not right with it. I've got two examples to show you of a rotting plant, of how I found it and what steps I've taken to try and save it. In today's video I'm going to try and show you how hopefully I can save this succulent and what's wrong with it. The one on the left has got a problem and I'm hoping I can fix it. So keep watching to find out what we're going to do. So firstly, what is wrong with the succulent and why do I think there's something wrong? So these are both hybrids. They're the same mother and father plant, if that's what you call them. They're quite different. Every seedling from a hybrid that you've created can look really, really different. However, this I featured in a video not so long ago, which is my how to water and when to water, and I really haven't listened to my own advice. So this one wasn't ready for water. Its leaves are really firm. There's no give in there whatsoever, so it doesn't need any water. However, I've accidentally left it on a tray which I've treated with water and bug clear. So this got water and it didn't need it, so it's now telling me off. It's saying, why haven't you not listened to your own advice? And how I know this is because these leaves here are kind of glowing. They call it the death glow, the death bloom, and that's when it's starting to rot. So they're kind of becoming orange. If you squeeze them, they're quite kind of very squishy, kind of becoming maybe translucent is the word. And yeah, just to me it's just glowing this orange color. You can tell this one is, but these ones are okay. So yeah, as soon as I saw it on the shelf, like from this angle, you can see that really stands out there and there of a different color. So just keep an eye on something like that. I know they're very colorful and it's sometimes hard to tell, but this kind of orangey yellow translucent look is a sign that there's some rot in there, and let's try and fix it. So firstly, I'm going to remove both succulents from the pot. These were repotted not that long ago, so they aren't completely rooted in there. See, got some nice roots. The white ones are the new ones, so it's starting to root nicely. And same with this one, it's got quite a few down the bottom and a few at the top. So if I wouldn't have upset it and watered it when it didn't need it, it would have been doing really well. So what I would just do is remove these leaves. You can just see there's water in there and it's just quite mushy and squishy. So remove any of the ones which they just fall off sometimes. That's when you know they're really peed off. Remove these ones. So they're the only ones which look majorly, and that one, affected by this. But it's always best, instead of just taking them off and hoping for the best, to act on it. And that does mean being a little bit ruthless. So actually this leaf here looks good, so it might propagate from leaf as well. So I'd remove as many leaves as you can. I can't see any rot in there, which is a really good sign, and there's obviously roots here growing, but I'm going to chop it anyway. I just find, if in doubt, chop it and the head can live on, and maybe the stem will produce some pups. But I do feel there's rot in here, and that's what's caused these very unhappy leaves. So let's have a look. So before you chop into any succulent, make sure you sterilize your knife. I use 70% alcohol spray, which is what I use to treat pests. And we're going to try and chop as close to the head, the rosette of the plant as we can, just to see if we can see any rot in the stem. Oh my goodness, it's very hard to do that. Oh, this one's now about to fall off. Any rot in the stem, and see if we can get the best survival for this beautiful hybrid. So if there's rot in here, Sometimes you can see a dark patch in the stem. I can't see anything in here, but it's very dark pink colour, so I think the rot is in there somewhere, but we might have just chopped some of it out, which I'm really hoping. So in the stem here I can see some darker colouring. It's quite hard to see with the colour of this, but yeah, there's some dark, kind of almost blacky colours in the middle there, and that's the rot. So I will repot this and just see what happens. I'll do an update in a few days, but this is obviously the head, which I can't see any rot in there, so I'm hoping this will reroot. It's such a beauty. I absolutely love this one. So yeah, I'm going to put it in some dry soil, let it callus over, and just do not water it. If roots start to grow, amazing, we've saved it and it should live on. If it carries on rotting, then it might be a case of just trying to pop off a few more leaves and propagate them. Sometimes it's just, you need to be cruel to be kind and get some leaves to keep, because the plant might die. So these two should be fine, so I'll keep those as well, and I'll update you as soon as I can. So the update on this hybrid of mine is not very good. So we've had a few more leaves fall off, and if you see under here, it's still quite black, so I'm just going to try and cut a little bit more off and just see what it looks like. It's a bit firm. Right, let me just cut that off and I'll give you an update. So it's really hard to see, but I've just tried to take a little bit more off the end there, but there is all black in there, so I don't think it's going to make it. I'm hoping there's some leaves that I've saved that might make it, but we'll see. It might be a case of actually me just trying to take these leaves off, but there might be rot in there already. I just wonder if a couple of these leaves might work. It's worth a try when it's as small as it is. Let's take one more off. I'm really gutted about this one, and it's my own fault. I literally was like, no, don't need to water that one's fine, and just put it on the wrong tray and watered it. So right, let's hope these leaves propagate. This is not looking very good at all, but I will update you. So I've just come to check the leaves of my lovely plant, which I thought was rotting, and it's safe to say, yeah, it's rotten. This is the head that I chopped. So as you can see, that's obviously completely dead. No life left in that whatsoever, and every single leaf has shriveled up. So unfortunately, this one is not going to live on. I do have one more, luckily. Yeah, so I'm gutted, but sometimes you can't save them, and I find with the Agavoids variety, they always show that they're dying when it's way too late. So yeah, it's unfortunate you can't always save them, but yeah, here's an example of, you know, reality. You can't save everyone. Here's an example of a succulent which doesn't look very happy. So it looks beautiful with the colours, but these orange leaves, which are squidgy and going a little bit transparent on the ends here, show signs of rot. So we're going to investigate to see what is happening here, see if we can save it. So I watered everything earlier this week with Bug Clear, just to prepare for winter, and this one may not have needed water, so unfortunately it doesn't look very happy. So what we're going to do is just take it out of the pot. I suppose there's quite a lot of moisture in this section, so let's take some leaves off and see what we can do for this plant. You can also see there's water dripping off here, so I didn't water these from above, so it's not like the water is just sitting there from watering. It might just be pouring out somehow. So let's have a look. Let's take some of these leaves off. Usually when it's starting to rot, you can literally just knock the leaves off. Yeah, so, oh, this is not good. Poor little plant. So let's keep taking the leaves off and see what we find. I hope we can save it. I love this one. When you can see little black specks on the stem, that's usually where the rot is sitting. So that's not a very good sign. Continue to remove some leaves. These ones are very translucent over here. Poor little plant. So luckily there's actually 3 heads on here, so we might be able to save hopefully 2 of the heads at least. This one looks like the worst one affected, so I'm just going to get my knife and we'll have to have a chop, unfortunately. So any knives that you use, just make sure you sterilize them with some alcohol spray, and we're going to chop this head off. And just have a look in here for rot. So this bit in here with the brown doesn't look very happy. It looks like the rot's getting in there as well. So take a few more leaves off. Obviously these leaves might propagate as well, so the plant might live on through leaf props if it doesn't survive. But yeah, you can see the little black dots there, which is the rot. So let's chop a little bit more, because the aim of it is just to get the rot out of the stem, and then it can survive if it hasn't got too far into the head. I'll just pat this down so I don't cut myself, and just chop that bit off. Okay, so I've chopped a little bit more. It's looking better. Just going to take that one off and chop a little bit more of the stem. Tell there's got a lot of water on there. It looks quite wet, so that will do for now. We will leave that on some dry soil, let it callus over, and hopefully it will reroot. So that's head number 1. Head number 2, let's chop. Again, I think I'm going to try and take some more of the stem off. That looks quite good. Can't see any rot in there. Sometimes it is in there and you can't see it, so it's kind of a wait and see, unfortunately, sometimes. But there's 2 that hopefully will survive, and that just leaves the last one. So I'm going to take this big leaf off here and chop just under here. Oh, got a bit of stem left on the knife. So yeah, just chop right under the rosette as far as you can. So on the stem, there's black in the centre. That is a sign that we've got some rot in there. And again, this one. So let's chop that down again as much as we can. Obviously the leaves might propagate, so keep them. And there's still a few little dots in there, so I want to get rid of them as much as I can, but I just don't know if it's going to leave us a lot of head. So sometimes you have to literally be ruthless for it to survive. So let's chop a tiny bit more. I don't think there's going to be a lot left. Poor plant. Okay, that's as much as I can take, so that's what we're left with. So we've got 3 heads, which might root, and some leaves. So these ones, which are really squidgy and going a bit translucent, funny colour, they're not going to do anything because the rot's already in there. These ones may do something, so we'll set them aside. That one's too squidgy. So we'll set them aside and see what happens. We'll do an update in a few days or a week. So yeah, let's wish this plant luck. So I also set aside a few leaves from the Queen's Ball. These are ones I didn't think were going to make it, and yep, definitely correct. They're all shriveled and black and completely dead. However, these ones are all still alive, which is a really good sign. It's probably been about 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks now. Yeah, so as they've not rotted yet, I believe that they will still be good. I just need to, wake up and start propagating for me. And then these are the 3 heads, so they are still alive. There's no rot. they're starting to callus over, so I think we should have some roots start to grow off them soon. So what I'm now going to do is just put them up in some dry soil and not touch them, not water them until roots start to grow quite a lot into the soil really. So yeah, we should have, obviously these 3 heads should root, fingers crossed, and then hopefully quite a few of these will propagate, so this one should live on. So yeah, this is how we save them really. So it's just, you know, keeping an eye on your succulents for different stress colours is so important, and just doing like a health check every so often. So one of these obviously you can save, but it doesn't always happen, as per my example on the last one. So I'm going to use a really nice gritty mixture for this. Probably need a bigger scoop than this tiny one. But yeah, if you just add lots of grit to the mixture, it just makes sure the soil doesn't retain too much moisture, yeah, which could have obviously caused it to rot in the first place. But you know, I always add lots of grit, so it could just be one of those things. Sometimes never know, which is really frustrating. If only they could talk, hey? Right, so that's nice and gritty. Some old roots in there, get rid of them. And then I'll just place the 3 heads on top of the soil and just pop them in slightly so they're touching in there. Not sure what happened there. I had loads of very noisy birds go over. So yeah, so I'm going to pop those 3 heads there, and I think I'll just leave all the leaves in there with them, because it's just easier to keep them all together, I suppose, and it's not like anything's rooting or growing yet. Oh, saying that, I don't think I'm going to get all the leaves in here. More than I thought. Maybe I'll just pop them around the edge like this and keep an eye on them. And when they start to prop, obviously just check to see if the pups are growing into the soil. If they are, then they will just need a little bit of light, so you can just spin them around, yeah, and position them so they're getting some light, because that's what they need to grow. So there we go, that's Queen's Ball, hopefully living on. There we go, fingers crossed. It's now been a couple of weeks, and I'm just checking to see if there's any progress, but unfortunately there's no roots on these heads as of yet. But we have some good news. Some of the leaves are starting to propagate. So as you can see here, we have a little pup and some roots. So I'm really happy that we've got that one and this one and a third. So out of the leaves so far, yeah, we've got 3 successes, and the heads are still not re-rooting, but I'm sure they will in time. They're not rotting. I think if they would have rotted, they would have done by now. So I'm positive that this plant will live on. So yeah, this is a nice little success story. Sometimes they don't, but yeah, I think we caught this one early enough. Yeah, and we'll have some live on, which is amazing. It's been another couple of weeks, and I just wanted to do a final update, just to show you there is a little bit of progress on the heads, or at least one of them anyway. So this one, I'm going to zoom in. This one's got a couple of roots, one at the bottom here and one coming out of this leaf. So we have got some progress. And like I said, the other ones haven't rotted, so that's a really, really good sign. I think they are going to re-root. It is really, really cold at the minute, so things won't root quite as quickly as what they would in the spring and summer. So that's probably causing a little bit of a delay. But yeah, I think we've managed to save this plant, and the pups from the leaves are now doing really, really well. We've got some nice roots here. There's the little pup. Gorgeous. So I'm really happy. That is a success. So there we are. We've got 2 different examples of a rotting succulent. One which was my beautiful Romeo, my hybrid, which didn't make it, unfortunately. I always find, like I mentioned, with the agavoids, they are a little bit like, by the time you see the rot, it's too late. So, you know, you can try these things, and it's definitely worth, you know, getting your knife out and chopping into it if you think there's rot in there. It's better to chop than just wait and see and it die on you, because like you've seen in the Queen's Ball example, they can live on. And if you've got all those heads on the plant as well, there's like even more chance of it surviving. I have noticed actually this year and last year, when I've had a plant that's rotting, if it's got quite a long stem and the rot gets into the top part of the stem, sometimes it really quickly, you know, produces new pups on the stem which live on. So I have got a little example of a a plant that did this, and it was a variegated one, so I'll just grab that now and show you. I wasn't really ever too sure what was wrong with this plant. I don't know if it got sunburnt or it was rotting from the top, maybe some water was sitting on it, but yeah, what it did was kind of produce loads of pups off the stem as the top was rotting or burnt, whatever happened to it. But yeah, it just produced lots and lots of pups. So these are what it produced. Obviously they were a lot smaller at the time, but I've just left them in this dry soil. I actually put them out, this is probably over summer, so maybe August and September time. They were just outside getting, you know, a little bit of rain, lots of wind, and, you know, some heat and sun, and they've done so well. So from a plant that's rotted, this was a variegated one. You can see a little bit of variegation on these ones. This one, actually all of them have got variegation on, just different variations really. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 they produce. So yeah, they do really have this way of trying to survive. Yeah, and like I say, this one just grew these ones out of the stem to say, like, I'm dying, but here you go, here's some more. So it's just, they're amazing. I absolutely love succulents, and this is one of the many reasons why. So obviously I hope you never have to use any tips in this video, and I hope you don't have any rotting succulents, but if you do, I really hope this helps and you're able to use some of these techniques to save your plants and get them to live on. Obviously leaf prop is a great way of doing so. I do like to try and leaf prop my favourite ones like once a year, just so I can obviously get them to live on and have them, you know, surviving forever, especially if they're your favourite. So thank you so much for watching today. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a like or leave a comment, and I really would appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. I do videos every Thursday, and yeah, I would love for you to subscribe and join the community. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.